Hey y'all, my name is Brianna and I am an architectural and civil engineer, and I'll be going over a few tips for my freshman engineering majors. So let's get straight into it. So the first tip I have for y'all, if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes. I wrote a lot of notes so I can make sure I give it all to y'all. You do not have to be good at math. Everybody says that you have to be good at math, y'all. You have to be good at math, you have to be good at science. That's not true, y'all. I promise y'all it's not. So if you're worried about that coming in, no. You do not have to be good at science or math to get your degree, okay? You are just gonna have to work a little bit harder when it comes to those classes. Doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot do it. So don't be discouraged coming into it just because you're not good at math and science. Don't let that intimidate you in those classes when you come in and say, oh, okay, it's not for me. You can definitely make it through and graduate without being good at math and science, y'all. It does not require that. It is just going to require a little bit more work if you aren't that great at it. That's all. You just have to put a little more effort, a little more time into it. That's it. Next thing, GPAs. Please get your GPAs high in the beginning, okay? So when you come in, I know a lot of people like to lollygag and, you know, have fun their freshman year, you know, just diddle-daddle. I say diddle-daddle, dilly-dally in their freshman year because, you know, you're trying to have fun. You're just getting on campus. You want to get to know everybody. No. Okay, y'all. For the engineering majors, your classes are going to get harder and harder and harder. Really, for any major, you're going to get harder and harder and harder. But especially for us, our classes are going to get 10 times harder, y'all, in your junior and senior year. So please don't start off all fun and games, okay? You can still have fun. I'm not telling you not to have fun, not to still get to know people and be, you know, have fun on campus. But I am telling you that you're going to have to really focus in your classes because you need to get your GPA as high as you can get it in the beginning because that's the easiest time to get it high. Y'all, you're trying to backtrack your GPA later on and get it higher, it's not gonna work. Or it's gonna be 10 times harder. The easiest thing is to start off right. Start off with your GPA as high as you can get it, y'all. So that freshman year is when you need to try to get as many A's as you can. Those are really your easy classes anyway. So just try to get your GPA as high as possible because, y'all, a lot of people will tell you for engineering experiences is valued more than your GPA. Very true, very true. I'm not saying that it's not true. Your experience in this field will definitely trump your GPA, okay? All the time when it comes to getting a job. However, while you're in school and you need that money, scholarships rely on your GPA for the most part. GPA trumps it all when it comes to your scholarships. You know, job requires the experiences. They looking more into that, but the scholarships are looking at your GPA. That's the first requirement usually when it comes to certain scholarships is your GPA. Before you can even apply for it, for them to look at your application, is for you to have a certain GPA. So your GPA is still important. I know a lot of people get on TikTok and all these other platforms and they're engineers and they tell you that experience is going to trump it all, trump your GPA, etc. But when it comes to scholarships, if you're not trying to pay out of pocket for everything, you do need to still focus on your GPA. It's still important, y'all, and it matters, okay? Try to get it up, like I said, as high as possible while you're in those easy classes because it's just gonna get hard. Next one, join organizations. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, first learn how to get acclimated with your classes, then join organizations later. No. Join organizations when you first get there, y'all. Freshmen, you should be joining organizations. That's where you're gonna find a lot of your mentors. That's when you're going to meet a lot of people that can really help you your freshman year if you allow them to, if you actually join the organization. Okay, these are going to be the mentors you come to talk about classes. Oh, I have this so-and-so class, or they'll tell you possibly how that teacher likes to run their class, what they care about more, how their syllabus is, how their tests are, because every teacher runs their class differently. How they do their test is always going to be different depending on the teacher you have. So knowing somebody who's already taken it, like a junior or senior in a organization that you're also in, that can help you in your classes now or future classes, even in the next semester, even if it's not this semester, that can help you out in that situation, y'all. I say join organizations because you will find the people that you will need for your next 4 years, 4 to 5 years, however your degree map is set up. They're going to tell you about teachers, tell you about classes you need. They're going to tell you about, like I said, how they do their tests. And these are all going to be tips and advice that you can only get from somebody who's actually been through those classes. And so now by joining the organization, you're now put in the same room as them. Whereas if not, you would just kind of have to find out as you go. Maybe you'll run into an engineering major, a junior or senior across campus or something, but that's just the easy way. When you start to join those organizations, it's the easy way to connect with other people in your major. So for like us, NSB, we got SWE. I was in AEI, Architectural Engineering Institute, because my undergrad is in architectural engineering. However, my master's is in civil engineering. I think we have ASCE, American Society of Civil Engineers. So we have that for civil engineering. So it's all types of organizations depending on what type of engineering you're going for. So please join those information. They'll be very crucial. Not even just mentors as far as students, but mentors as far as the advisors over them. They will also get to know you and get your face. You know, it'll be more personal than it will be in a classroom setting. Now, what I will say when you are joining these organizations, I wouldn't advise you to try to run for leadership roles if one comes up. You know, that is something I've heard people say, to not join organizations, like I said, but I think the main thing is don't try to take a leadership position or leadership role in the organization. Just try to be a participator in the organization and not a leader role yet. I will recommend eventually doing that. Leadership roles will help you in the long run, but in your freshman year, I wouldn't necessarily advise that because you're going to be taking all these classes and you're also trying to just get acclimated with being on campus, being a freshman, learning how to balance school and doing whatever you want to do. Maybe you have a job as well. So don't try to throw that in the mix. Just You know, just participate where you can. Join the organization. Don't try to overdo it, y'all, please. Now, also with these mentors that you will be getting, stay in contact with them, but also take what they say with a grain of salt, y'all. And just because their experience, they had this certain experience with a teacher or this certain experience with a class, does not necessarily mean that you're going to have that same experience with the teacher or the class, y'all. You have to take it with, you know, an unbiased, objective. You have to just be unbiased and objective when it comes to taking advice from people, from these mentors that you have, because like I just said, their experience is not going to be your experience. You don't want to come in already with this attitude and mindset that this teacher is going to be this way or the class is going to be this way, and it's not at all like that. Y'all, everybody has their own experiences with the people. Teachers go through seasons just like we go through seasons. I mean, that teacher might not even be doing the same things that he's doing now in this semester. So teachers are learning and changing just as well as we are. So they deserve grace as well, y'all. So yeah, take everything that the mentor says, note it, but take it with a grain of salt. Have your own experience. Because honestly, what I will say, for one example of that, I had this girl tell me about a coding class that I had when I was in undergrad. I was stressed out about this coding class because I didn't know nothing about coding, y'all. I absolutely was like, what am I about to do? What am I about to do? Because I don't know nothing about coding. I was complaining, why I gotta take coding? I ain't about to be no software engineer. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not being nobody that needs to code. What am I doing? And they was like, you still just gotta take it. This is part of the degree map. You gotta take this class. Okay. So I was talking to this girl about it. She's already had the class. She was basically like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll probably have to take it multiple times. Everybody has to take that class multiple times. I'm looking at this. Like, scripture. I'm not about to take this multiple times. That is not my goal in taking this multiple times. But basically, she was just trying to tell me that it was a really hard class. And like, basically, she had failed it, I think, once or twice before actually passing it. And like, the teacher was kind of hard. And you know, she's giving me this advice to help me. But at the same time, you have to, like I said, take it with a grain of salt, because my experience was not her experience. I ended up passing the class on my first try. You know, and it was hard, but it wasn't as hard to me because we're all different, you know. That's what I will say, y'all. Please make your own experiences. Hear what everybody has to say about that teacher, about that class, because it might help, but also go in there with an open mind. Another thing is, and I know people don't like to do it, oh, I don't want to know my teachers, I don't want to hang out with my teachers more than I have to, I don't want to see them outside of class, blah, 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 blah. You need to get to know your teachers. Your teachers are going to be they might be the determining factor in changing a C to a B, you know. You never really know, or a D to a C. So getting to know your teachers, letting them get to know you and know that you're trying, coming in, doing their office hours, just whenever you have a question, if their office hours doesn't work for you, maybe they'll set up another time for you, one-on-one sessions. You could also even come in like before class. Sometimes teachers are there maybe 5 to 10 minutes before class, and you can come and ask them questions while, you know, everybody's still rolling in, or stay after class for 5 to 10 minutes and ask the teacher questions if they don't have to, you know, run off. But just getting them to know your name, know your face, differentiate you from the hundreds of other classes, and not hundreds of other classes, but hundreds of other people and students that they see on a day-to-day basis, y'all. Because them getting to know you make or break your success in their class. And them seeing you try, even if you aren't necessarily still getting the subject or the topic at hand, them seeing you try and actually come to them and, you know, spending all their office hours with them, that helps, y'all. Like I said, that could change your letter grade. So don't be afraid to talk to your teachers. I know sometimes people just say ask questions in class. You can do that too, but if you're shyer on the shy side like me, I personally don't like to ask questions in class, during class. So like I said, I would come before class 5 to 10 minutes, or I stay after class 5 to 10 minutes, or come during office hours. Do something. Even if you are shy, do something. Do not let the confusion pile up and you're lost on this topic, because this topic is going to be on the next topic, and the next topic is going to be built usually on the topic before that. So if you stuck on this topic over here and we all the way on this topic, that's too much catching up, y'all. This kind of goes to organizations, but if you are maybe if you're a senior in high school this year and not yet going into your engineering degree, but are thinking about it, you should also be looking into, as a senior in high school right now, looking into organizations that you could possibly do, maybe even in the summer, going into your college freshman year. You know, one of the things I did, when I was a senior in high school, I looked up different organizations that TSU had, because I graduated from Tennessee State University. So they had a summer program for incoming freshman engineers through the engineering department. Once you apply, they'll select like 10 future engineering freshman students, and they will have us stay there for a month on campus the summer before we actually come to school. So I think it was in June. Yeah, it was in June. So we stayed the whole month of June before we go to school in August for the first year. We stayed the whole month of June. We stayed in a dorm on campus, and we went to classes. We took engineering classes, and that helped me get acclimated with college realm, like being an actual college student, like a practice run, as well as I got firsthand at getting to know my teachers already. Because now the teachers who are teaching the classes for our summer program, they're still teachers that teach there. You're going to eventually have. So I got to know some of my teachers ahead of time, as well as got to learn some information ahead of time. So when I started off in August, I was already a little ahead of the game, y'all, you know? So I don't know if every college has something like that, but that would be a good thing to probably look at and see about. Even if it's not a summer program like that, something like that could help you. As far as like me, it helped me with getting scholarships. It is single-handedly the reason why I got my whole engineering degree paid for. Both, really. because of that experience I got and getting to know my advisor ahead of time and the dean and all that, having basically like that one-on-one time with those people allowed me to build those relationships with them. Started right then before anybody else even had a chance, before any of your engineering freshman peers have a chance to talk to them. You already got to know them and put your, put face in their mind, put your name in their mind. And so I was able to get my whole degree paid for. Not only that, y'all, I was able to get refund checks while I was getting that degree and eventually got my master's paid off in full. So I have know that. That's how powerful building those relationships and getting to know your teachers and advisors and deans, all that is crucial. They will help you succeed if you let them, if you get to know them. Is build good study habits, y'all. I know a lot of people say for engineering, it's always good to do group study sessions and all that. Personally, I'm not a group study session person. I get real distracted real easy. I'm nosy. I'm looking everywhere. I want to know what you're doing, what you're studying, what you're looking at. No. So it did not work for me. I know people recommend group sessions for this field, but it did not work for me. So if you're like me, then and it doesn't work for you working in groups, I would personally say groups is helpful because, well, one person is usually lacking, the other person can sometimes fill that gap, okay? So for me, instead of doing homework in the group, I would do my homework before I met with the group. So when I'm actually with the group, I'm just kind of like going over, hey, what you get for here, what you get for here, but I already have the work done. So it's just like me checking my work with them. What's your idea about this? Why do you feel like your answer is right or my answer is wrong type thing? So that's how I did my group work. Not group work, but like that's how I did in group sessions and stuff like that, because I couldn't actually sit there in a group and work, like all 5 of us sitting there all working on the homework. I can't do that. I don't function well with that. So I realized that very soon that didn't work for me. So I had to start doing the work ahead of time. And then when, like I said, when I met in those groups, then it was just like me checking on my work and changing what needs to be changed, but not actually having to sit down and focus and do it all in one, setting. But yeah, those study habits, you need those study habits because engineering, you are going to have to study. This is not a degree that you could just kind of fly through. There are some degrees that you can just, do minimal at and still get away with a degree. No, this is not it. You have to study. No matter really how smart you are. I've seen very smart people and they still have to study. That's just the type of field it is. You got to study. So building those study habits, whatever works for you, y'all. Taking notes on your tablet or taking notes on in your notebook, or you don't like to take notes during class. You like to take notes after class. You like to focus in class. Just figuring out what way works for you when it comes to studying. Solidifying that in your freshman year is crucial because once you build that study habit, then it's just going to carry on until the rest of your 4 years. Really the rest of your life once you build a solid study habit. But most people don't come in to college with a solid study schedule, study habit. They have none of the sorts. And that's why freshman year, they struggling because you gotta study. And you need to have a good study method. Next one is kind of like an advisor thing. But I'm gonna let y'all know I went to a HBCU. So sometimes our advisors with our schedules, and it's not necessarily our engineering advisors with the scheduling. So sometimes in a mix of our general advisors through the school and our actual engineering advisor, there could be a mix up in our schedule and what we need to graduate by the year that we want to graduate. And I've seen a lot of people go through this and they will think that they're on the track to graduate in 4 years when actually they're not. They're on the path to graduate in 5 years. But they don't know that. You got to be on top of it, basically, is what I'm saying. Be on top of your schedule map and what you're going to be planning to take. Like when I started my freshman year, I knew exactly what I was going to take for the next 4 years, all laid out. I knew I was going to take this class this year, this class this year, this class this year. I knew what was a prerequisite for what. I knew what I could take at the same time. I knew all of it so that it wouldn't be a surprise to me because I knew I wanted to graduate in 4 years. I knew I did not want to stay there more than 4 years. Most engineering people, you could end up staying there 5 or more years. I knew I didn't want to do that. So I made sure my schedule was on target. My advisors, hey, this right? I went up to them even after, they'll give you a schedule your freshman year. And most of the time we don't create our own schedules. But I even went then like, hey, is this right? Is this, double check, be on it. Because, yes, they should all care and should be all doing their job as far as getting your schedule together. But at the same time, it's your life. It's your degree, your life that's going to be put off if you don't graduate with the year that you thought you were going to graduate. So everything, take it upon yourself to make sure it's right. So next thing is engineering isn't the hardest degree in the world to get. I know a lot of people say that or think that engineering is just so hard to do. It's so hard. I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if I want to go into the major because it's so hard. Y'all, it is not as hard as people make it out to be. It's more so that you have to work, like I said, work harder. Just like I said with the GPA, just like I said with not being a math whiz, you just have to work harder, okay? You're gonna have to study more than probably your peers. You're gonna have to miss a couple of parties and your peers are going to. You're just gonna have to work harder, put more time, put more effort than probably a lot of your other peers in their degrees, okay, y'all? That's just all what it comes down to. You gotta put more effort and more time, and a lot of people aren't willing to put that time and effort into it, and that's why they don't continue it. Okay, y'all, it's not that they're not smart. It's not that they don't know enough science. It's literally just they don't want to put in the time, the effort into doing it. That's all, y'all. Or the other option, they just didn't like it and didn't want to do it no more. But when they say as far as like struggling and stuff like that, that's why I left. No, you just didn't want to put the time and effort into it. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of studying, y'all. It just takes a lot more than people are willing to give it. But no, it is not that hard. It is not overly, it's not rocket science. It's not over the top, y'all. It's not that hard, but you just got to work hard.